two of the most talented underclassmen at Washington. All right, so going from young players making an impact to players disappointing, from the good to the bad. And I think one player who could have a dip in production this upcoming season is Ryan Bowman. Looking at Bowman's stats from his entire career at UW, this is now his 5th year, maybe 6th if he redshirted. Not sure off the top of my head, but back to his stats where he played. So in 2017, he had 5.5 sacks. 2018, he had 1. 2019, he had 5.5 sacks. 2020, in the 2 games he played, as he missed the last 2, he had 1 sack. So I guess if you believe in trends, then you're going to say she's going to have 5.5 sacks this year. Well, I don't believe in that. I don't think that's going to be the case. And it's not that Bowman isn't a good player. I think he's a fine football player. Not a star, not bad, just a quality starter. I think what is going to happen is that the other Huskies at that position are going to take snaps away from him. At least I hope they do. Because again, here it is, similar to the running back room. You've got this guy coming back who you know what he is. He's going to provide you some production, but he doesn't seem like he's got that next gear. Maybe he proved me wrong, and he does have that next gear, and he has a 7, 8, 9 sack season this upcoming season. But maybe he doesn't, and he gives you that same thing he's going to give you, just a couple or a few sacks. That's why you got to go with the younger guys, I feel, and give them opportunity to show themselves. A couple of these guys, one of them are Savell Smalls. I think he really needs to show something this upcoming season. Smalls is a guy who last year came in as a 5-star prospect, and I'll be frank, he disappointed. He did not live up to his 5-star name. It was a weird season, but still. In the 4-game season, he had 7 total tackles. He started 1 game. I think it was the Stanford game off the top of my head. And he had 1 tackle in the game he started. He had 5 tackles in the game against Utah, where he didn't start actually. And then 1 tackle in another game. But that's all he had. 7 total tackles. Those are the only stats he recorded. No tackles for a loss, no forced fumble, fumble recovery, sack, interception, pass deflection, or anything other than tackles. So Smalls is definitely going to be a guy who needs to improve upon that. And I think he wants to. He's definitely got to show he's hungry. And I haven't really heard anything coming out of him from spring ball, but I think he's got to feel a type of pressure to really show that he's not that 5-star bust that some people might think he is. And hopefully, I think the pressure, just motivates him to prove himself to everyone and has him go out there and play the football that people think he's capable of. Now, another name at the outside linebacker position that I think could cut into Bowman and really hurt Bowman in terms of his production level is Braylon Trice. Now, he's a name that a lot of Husky fans might not know. He has yet to touch the field the previous 2 seasons on the team. But this spring ball, the coaches have been singing him some major praise and really making it seem like he's going to be making an impact this year. That might all be a smokescreen, who knows? But one of the coaches, Coach Malloy, the outside linebackers coach, said earlier that he said he would probably end up being better than Joe Trino. That's quite the statement to make for a guy who hasn't played in a game in his career at UW. But I guess the coaches believe that he's flipped his switch and he's finally figured out, which that might be true. How much of this can you believe? I don't know. This might be the coaches trying to motivate a player. You can motivate a player with positive encouragement, like they're doing with Trice, or you can motivate him with negative encouragement. Bashing him, I guess you could say, which famously Bruce Arians has done in the NFL for guys like DJ Humphries. And I mean, whichever one works for the player, the coaches have to figure that out and use. Maybe they think Trice will respond to positive encouragement. and flip a switch on the field. But one thing that kind of backs up the coach's statements and makes you believe that maybe they actually do see something more in him this year is that at times in spring practice, he has gotten snaps with the starting defense in more pass rushing situations, which again, that could hurt Ryan Bowman's stats. Maybe taking him out and putting in a guy like Brandon Price. Now, another name that a lot of people are probably not thinking I'm going to say here, but because a lot of people are probably expecting a huge year from him, but I'm not too sure about him, is ZTF. Now, in 2019, he had 9 total tackles, playing 0 sacks, playing in 12 of the 13 games. Last season, in that wild 4-game COVID season, he erupted onto the scene. Everyone knows what happens. He was named All Pac-12 First Team. He was named the second team All-American. He had a good year. He had, in those 4 games, he played 13 total tackles and 7 sacks. But really, he only did that in 3 games. As in the final game of the year against Stanford, he had 0 statistics. He played the game, but he had 0 statistics. That's a kind of a cause for concern, a little check mark by his name, a little note to put. I don't know what Stanford did that game. I don't recall. I didn't go back and watch it. I'd have to do that to look at see if Stanford double teamed in every play, if Stanford blocked him differently. Stanford's known for having a good offensive line, and maybe these guys like Oregon State's offensive line, University of Arizona's, Utah's, they just weren't that good. And ZTF capitalized on that, and Stanford's was actually good, and they were able to shut down ZTF. That's a cause for concern right there. I don't know what happened that game, but clearly ZTF just didn't really show up. Now, I don't think ZTF is a bad player necessarily at all. I think he's a good player. I just think that he might have too much hype and too high of expectations coming into the season. And it's kind of just gone